I have for you. This is just humiliating. Luckily not for us, for Matt Walsh. Now, Matt Walsh appeared on Joe Rogan, and to give you context, Matt Walsh is probably one of the most vile individuals in right-wing media, and that's part of why I just can't get myself to cover him that often. I've done a good amount of stories now about him, but I can't talk about him a ton because just hearing him speak gets me angry because of the dishonesty. And I'm not just saying that out of the blue. I'm going to show you a moment that exemplifies that better than you could possibly imagine. So like I said, he's a right-wing media figure, and his issue is...
Marriage is the foundation.
How many people have had this done?
Oh my goodness, apologies guys. His issue is with trans people. He talks about them more than you could possibly imagine. The Matt Walsh Show is... you know, welcome to the show. Let's spend the next hour talking about trans people and demonizing them in every possible way. And he's obsessed. And so he goes on Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan is probably thinking, someone who doesn't, I don't think, definitely doesn't do enough work behind the scenes to be knowledgeable enough to fact check people in the moment. But he's probably thinking, okay, Matt Walsh spends all these hours talking about trans people. Maybe I could bounce some questions off him and he'll give me answers that are correct, right? Well, boy, was he wrong about that, because Joe Rogan's producer in the moment pulls up an article and fact checks Matt Walsh. Just try not to cringe beyond belief when you see this.
How many people have had this done?
So let me start this over. He's asking about how many people have had puberty blockers. How many people have used puberty blockers, okay?
How many people have had this done?
Depends on what. I don't think we have exact numbers, but it's, if we're talking about the drugs, it's, I mean, millions.
Are you talking about hormone blockers?
Yeah.
Millions of kids have been on hormone blockers? Really?
I'm sure someone's going to fact check me on that, but my guess is that we're into the millions now at this point. Yeah, that would be my guess.
It says over the last 5 years, there were at least 4,780 adolescents who started puberty blockers and had a prior gender dysphoria diagnosis.
This says it's kind of undercounted, but
that would be a big undercounting.
Less than 1,000 people a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess, you know, hundreds of thousands at this point.
Oh, would you?
I could be wrong.
Okay, so we got to place another time up first. If you missed it, Matt Walsh goes, you know, I don't know if we have exact numbers. No, medical procedures we have pretty good numbers on oftentimes. But I would put the number, you know, give or less. What does that mean? More or less millions. I would put it in the million ballpark. And then the producer pulls up on the screen and it's 4,000 over the last 5 years. So it's less than 1,000 per year. And he said millions, you know, per year.
Yeah,
and
easily.
it's less than, it's in the 900, it's in the hundreds. And he says millions. That's wild. And then after that fact check has happened, I think I would just take my headphones off, go, I retire and leave. But instead he goes, it's probably hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, no. He decided to double down instead of actually, you know what? I'm wrong.
Right. So he admits in a way that he's wrong by switching it to hundreds of thousands. But no, that's not how that works. You don't get to take like the average of what you said and what the fact is. All right, I said millions. It's actually hundreds per year. Hundreds of thousands we'll put in the middle, right? That's not how that works. You need to just concede that you were wrong. Watch this one more time just to suffer through the cringe.
How many people have had this done?
Depends on what. I don't think we have exact numbers, but it's, if we're talking about the drugs, it's, I mean, millions.
Are you talking about hormone blockers?
Yeah.
Millions of kids have been on hormone blockers? Really?
I'm sure someone's going to fact check me on that, but my guess is that we're into the millions now at this point. Yeah, that would be my guess.
It says over the last 5 years, there were at least 4,780 adolescents who started puberty blockers and had a prior gender dysphoria diagnosis.
This says it's kind of undercounted, but
that would be a big undercounting.
Less than 1,000 people a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess, you know, hundreds of thousands at this, but I could be wrong.
You know what? I could be wrong. Let's ignore that I am wrong, but I could be wrong. You can fact check me on that because you just did. It's brutal, guys. This is what we see in the right wing. And the sad part is very few people will take note who are right-wingers who want to believe that there's this, I don't know what, attack on cis people and everyone's being stabbed with a little needle shooting hormone blockers into them and everyone's a trans person now and all these things. They just need to hold on to that, I guess, so they'll just believe Matt Walsh after this. Why would you ever watch a show after that? Because that, if you're someone who talks about, now I get if you're a random person on the street and you get a mic put in your face, hey, how many people do you think you have taken hormone blockers? You might just be like, I don't know, millions. Sounds like something that people take. I don't know. Especially including the fact that it's not just trans youth who take hormone blockers. But you would maybe throw that out there. But if you're the trans guy, as in the guy who talks about trans people all the time because you think it's the worst thing in the entire world, you got to know your facts on that, bro. That's humiliating. And let me just remind you, these are how these stories go, okay? Matt Walsh says on his show millions, and then every single person watching him tells all their family and friends millions. And then by the end of it, a third of our country thinks that millions because it spreads in all the right-wing media networks and all these things. Well, a similar effect happened on Joe Rogan's show as well as all over right-wing media with the litter box story. Did you hear that? So you'll hear tons of right-wingers say, oh, now kids are taking, you know, their poops or whatever, going to the restroom in litter boxes at school because schools are trying to respect people's furry identification. So people who identify as animals, they're trying to like respect that, and so then they're putting litter boxes they're putting litter boxes in the bathrooms. Ben's about to die over there. Well, it turns out, can you believe it, that wasn't true. Oh no. But that didn't stop Joe Rogan, long after this story had been debunked, saying this on his show.
There's kids, ready for this? My friend, his wife, is a school teacher, and she works at a school that had to install a litter box in the girls' room because there is a girl who's a furry who identifies as an animal, and her mother badgered the school until they agreed to put a litter box in one of the stalls. Yeah. So this girl goes into the litter room or to the girls' room and urinates or whatever. I don't know if she poops in it. That's pretty gross.
So this is one of those situations where, have you ever been in a friend interaction and like, Ben, hate to break it to you, I've done this to you before, where you heard something like a story and you don't remember where you heard it. It was probably a podcast or a TV show, but you kind of just make it your own. You're like, oh, my friend told me that they blah, 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 right?
Everybody's done it.
It's storytelling, okay? Well, I think that's what he did there, where he saw this somewhere on right-wing media and then adopted it as his friend, or he actually had a friend who lied to him and told this story. What's up?
But whenever it comes down to something like that, I think I would have done just a little bit more research on
more
that.
research, because it's one of those things where they'll go, can you believe this is real? And I'm like, no, I can't, because it's not. And so just to give you perspective, media outlets went and found the school that people were alleging was the school that did it, and it wasn't the case. The school's like, this isn't a thing that's done. Check our bathrooms. I don't know. We don't do this. But it just, I don't know if it started as a meme or what, but these days, too many in the right-wing audiences can't distinguish the difference between actual information and, comedic information, I guess. And so even figures with the most massive platforms like Joe Rogan spread these theories, whether it's the amount of people who are on puberty blockers or the kid pooping in a litter box at school because the left has gone so bonkers and is pushing for wild things. It's just almost, to me, solidifies the fact that I'm definitely fighting for the correct side, because if they got to come up with these types of things to attack us, clearly we're doing well, because they're coming up with all sorts of wild theories instead of going after actual things we stand for or believe in. Truly hilarious, cringe, humiliating there. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before any of the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get access to an extra full show every Saturday that only members can see, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley, and there is a link in the description.